once upon a time, I was a college student at MIT, and there was a recession, and my friends decided that it would be more fun to hang around and be a student for another 2 years and go to grad school instead of being unemployed out in the marketplace. So I stuck around for graduate school, and then I got my degree, and then I actually got a really good job, and I got married. And the job was Arthur D. Little, which is a international management consulting company, and I was very prestigious, and I was very excited about it. They had offices all over the world, in Tokyo and London and Paris. And the people at work there were people that had been there from 10 to 40 years and were never leaving, and they just loved it there. So I was the only first girl to be there, first woman engineer. And then they hired 2 more women, and they were both like madly in love with my boss, and hardly ever wouldn't leave me alone with my boss, which was kind of strange since I was married and my boss was married. And then they hired another woman who was a black belt in karate and a professional marathon runner or something. She was fierce. She was about 5 feet tall and weighed 100 pounds, and she was pretty fierce. And one day she said, Marie-Louise, this engineer asked me out for a date to go skiing after work, but I don't feel comfortable going by myself. Would you come with me? So I'm like, okay. So we get in the car after work, and the guy's, he's tall, nice looking, brown curly hair or brown hair, mustache. Seems okay. We're just talking about the weather and Boston and Cambridge and skiing. And we go skiing. It's like nice night. Have some nice hot chocolate and hamburgers afterwards. And then we get in the car coming back, and it's dark, really, really, really dark. And he starts talking about being in the helicopter in Vietnam and being really scary and all these big weapons and, I don't know, AK-47s and machine guns. And it's like, this is not first date kind of conversation. And so anyway, we got back to work, and I don't think she ever went out with him again. And then I got another job, and she got another job. And then a couple of years later, I'm looking at the Boston Globe, cover of the Boston Globe, and it was his picture, and he was arrested for murder. And he lived on the coast up, and he'd actually been married before, during, and after that date skiing, and he lived on the coast north of Boston where it was very rocky, and he had this little thing that he did, which was flirt with women and say, my wife died of cancer, and would you come sailing with me? And he would take them out on his boat. Anyway, one of them didn't come back. So basically, Vicky and I had our radar right about him being a little creepy, and it was good that Vicky didn't want to be alone with him. But anyway, turned out that while this fancy company had required that I show them my transcript and diploma and everything, when I showed up for work, apparently they skipped those steps for him and just figured that Parker Brothers had already done all that background check stuff, so he wasn't actually an engineer. And he'd lied pretty much about everything and gotten away with it. But anyway, so that's my story. Thanks.